Today I wanted to cover um, an interesting topic um, where pet ownership can be seen as a kind of slavery. Um, I'm not sure if slavery would be the right word, but to just give you the picture, uh, when you own a pet, well, need I say more in the word own? Um, so I'll just frame it for you. Let's take the average dog, for instance. It'll be a better picture to show you how this is a little bit insidious. If I take a purebred dog, um, so we have people, another species, to the dog that captures these dogs and breeds them specifically so they have this or that trait. Um, for purebred dogs, these are really not that good for the dogs. Uh, they they tend to have a lot of health issues. If you look at bulldogs or other kinds of dogs, I don't know if they're considered purebred, so forgive me if I'm using the wrong term here, but the point is, a lot of these types of dogs will have breathing issues, they'll have stubby legs, they'll not be able to move very well, they'll have bone issues, etc. And it is in service of looking a certain way. So you have another species to the dog, i.e., humans, capturing and specifically breeding these dogs into this kind of feeble creature that pleases the humans. The humans then purchase this creature to stay with them in their homes. I don't know if that sounds familiar. That's why I use the term slavery. Uh, and then they can't leave. Now, yes, they get fed, so did slaves. Uh, but it's not really a choice for them or a viable option for them to leave because that is their only available food. It's what they know, um, etc. So you're really putting them in a situation that doesn't make a lot of sense to do without the argument that, well, they love the owner, so you're doing them a favor. Now, that is true in in certain in certain circumstances, um, maybe even most, but there are many pets who do not have a good owner, and where it would be much closer to the standard colloquial definition of slavery, where they really don't have a choice. They can't get out. They would get out if they could, but they can't. They might even be tied to a tree, and that's their habitat now. Is um, the width of the rope around the tree uh, making a circle, and that's where they get to live in. They might have a dog house or something, and some of them are even left out in the winter um, to feed on this arguably bland food unless the owner is well off and able to afford Fancy Feast or the dog equivalent, Iams or whatever, all of those overpriced dog brands. Um, and to add to that, Many times the dog is alone. The dog doesn't have other dogs to hang around with. Even if it does have other dogs, that isn't necessarily true that it would like the other dogs. Um, you, you might give it an environment of other dogs and it hates all of these other dogs. And is that really doing justice to the dog, the original dog who hates all of these other dogs and now is that's his social environment is to be with other dogs in a rather lackluster owner? Um, even leaving on vacation, which many people tend to do, who have the money for it, uh, you are that is a form of abandonment for that animal. It doesn't know that you're going to arrive back. It doesn't know what's happening. Even if it is attached to you, it is traumatizing for it because now you're just gone all of a sudden. So it now has to deal with, generally people vacation for a week or two. It has to deal with a week or 2 weeks or even just days of absolutely not knowing where you are or if you come back, if you're dead, or whatever. I don't know the level that a dog can worry, but I know that it knows when you're gone. Um, and again, I'm not saying this to lose much sleep over it or anything, but it is surprising to me that most pet owners don't really seem to consider these things, um, or even think about them, or laugh them out of the room. That's one of the purposes of this channel is to try and point out things that people don't tend to think about. That I think if you're trying to be ethical, you probably should think about, because it seems to me like it's part of the equation here for the health of this dog. Personally, I am not interested in having pets whatsoever. I've had enough pets um, throughout my life, and I do not get a lot of joy out of them. And the joy that I do get is superseded by the cleanup, the maintenance, and all of that. But I do quite strongly believe that if you are going to have a pet, it is incumbent on you to take care of it well and take care of it humanely. And it seems to me that keeping it outside all day, yelling at it to shut up when it is barking, which is a natural function, um, kicking it, being cruel to it, even just leaving on vacation without somehow incorporating the dog or making sure that the dog is well cared for with somebody that it knows or something. Because I mean, even if you have like a random babysitter, like if the dog doesn't know that babysitter, that is now a stranger in the house. Now, granted, it can adapt, but still, like if you put a lot of these things um, in a different context with humans, you would be appalled. You wouldn't consider, well, I suppose we do with adoption, but normally you wouldn't consider buying another person and putting them in your home and they can't leave. I suppose that is adoption, essentially. Um, but so maybe not the best example, but I think you get what I mean. Um, it's hard to say. That one thing to think about that I've always thought was funny, in a related topic about dogs is a lot of people really love their dog, but the dog is about as smart as a pig. And these same people will have no issue eating pulled pork sandwich or ham, Christmas ham, or whatever, something including pigs, bacon. No issue there. But if you suggested having a dog sandwich or pulled dog from the barbecue, etc., that would be horrifying, even though the animal is not much different.